seen, heard, celebrated. Sun TV, Pulse of the Nation.
We proudly define
Sun TV, Africa, seen, heard, celebrated. Sun TV, Pulse of the Nation. Africa, a land of ruth.
Some of the headline division. Good afternoon and welcome to Super Media Television Business Dailies. Today we bring to you latest developments making headlines across Nigeria's economy, markets and business world. Here are some of the headlines making rounds in the Nigerian business world. Nisal Microfinance Bank facilitates over 100 billion annual in agricultural finance that create 150,000 jobs in 2025. Alpha Morgan Economics Reviews examines inflation, GDP and Nigeria's economics outlook. The Nigeria's trade surplus drops to 6.69 trillion quarter of 2025, says Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. I am Harvard's Naftali Bello. The Nisal Microfinance Bank has solicited over 100 billion in agricultural finance in 2025, driving 159,000 jobs and impacting 795,000 lives. The Nigerian Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Lending, NISAL, has supported agricultural businesses through risk-sharing, insurance advocacy, and technical assistance. NISAL intervention has strengthened industrial capacity, expanded productions, and deepened market access since 2013. The NISAL has facilitated over 298.49 billion in credit, issued 949 guarantees, and supported 251 agro-businesses with non-performance loan ratio of less than 0.8%. The institution has also trained 449,000 agricultural value chain actors, attributed the success to structured sharing models and partnership with finance institutions. The institution has signed 41 master agreements and counterparties to finance agriculture and businesses. They shall aim to expand its finance facilitations footprint and support climate-smart agriculture in the year 2026. Alpha Morgan hosted its economics review, discussing forces shaping Nigeria's economy, including inflation, GDP, and global pressure. Economist Bismarck Rwans highlighted current trends and opportunities for businesses and households. The event draws business leaders, investors, and professionals seeking insights. Alpha Morgan's Ban MD announced the next economic review in February 2026. Following the MPC meeting, the review is a respected platform for economic analysis and guidance. Attendees praised the sessions as relevant and helpful to decision making. The Alpha Morgan Economics Review provides timely insight and expert commentary on key economic issues. The Nigeria's trade surplus declined by 10.36% in the third quarter of 2025, with 7.4 trillion in the second quarter to 6.69 trillion according to the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS. Export total 22.81 billion, while imports stood at 16.12 trillion, resulting to a trade surplus of 6.69 trillion. The crude oil remains Nigeria's major export commodity, valued at 12.8 trillion, that is 56.14% of the total export, and crude oil exports stood at 10 trillion, that is 43.86% of the total export. The top import categories include mineral fuels at 5,150.87 billion, machinery, supports and equipment at 4,250.48 billion, and chemicals at 2,347.07 billion. India was recorded top export destinations, followed by Spain, France, Netherlands, and Italy. China was the top import partners with trade value at 4.78 trillion, that is 29.68% of the total imports. The Nigerian Bureau of Statistics reports highlights Nigeria's trade performances in the third quarter of the 2025. The textiles and garment business owners are calling for policy review to address struggles in the sector, including smuggling, poor infrastructures, and high cost. CN Daniels Culture, the CEO Nnamdi Daniels, stated that Nigeria's textile production can't meet local demand, and foreign products are undermining local businesses. He cited smuggling and counterfeiting as major issues. Daniel emphasized the need to promote made-in-Nigeria product and pressure African culture. St. Daniels is partnering with the British Council to showcase Nigerians' fashion and fabrics in 2026, starting with Abuja, Lagos, and Port Harcourt. The initiative aims to promote local textiles like Adure, Akwati. Despite challenges, local textile remains in demand. Nigeria highlights the richness of Nigeria's fabric and the need to reclaim Africans' fashion identity. The event, tagged Canvas of Culture, Ancestors Are Watching, Glam Street, showcase traditional fashions with a modern twist. The NNPC Limited CEO, Bayo Ojulari, says the ongoing fuel price war will benefit Nigerians as competition drives down prices. Petrol prices have dropped from over 1,200 per litre in November 2024 to as low as 739 per litre, driven by the Dangote refinery and NNPC Limited increased production. Ojulari attributes the price drop to Nigeria's transition from the import dependencies to domestic refining. The NNPC Limited is focused on generating more production, ensuring product availability, and working with downstream players like Dangote refinery. Ojulari emphasized that NNPC Limited is no longer a regulator but a commercial company, competing profitably. The Nigeria's oil production has risen to 1.7 million barrels per day, with gas production increasing to 7 billion standard cubic feet daily. The Ajaokuta-Kaduna-Kano gas pipeline is nearing completion, bringing gas to northern Nigeria for industrialization and power generation. Ojulari expects the markets to stabilize, with NNPC Limited aiming at 1.8 million barrels per day in 2026 and 2 million by 2027. The Port Harcourt Refinery Company is supplying 349,000 liters of diesel daily despite being shut down since May 24, 2025 for maintenance. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority confirms the refinery is evacuating diesel produced before shutdown. Thus, no production activities are ongoing with the refinery shutdown mode. The shutdown has entered its 7th month with no production resumption date. The NNPC Limited CEO, Bayo Ojulari, stated that the refinery was losing $300 million to $500 million monthly before maintenance. That the technical review aims to make the refinery sustainable and profitable. Stakeholders called for privatization, citing fiscal burden and operational inefficiency, but Ojulari rejected privatization, focusing on revamping the refinery. The Port Harcourt refinery was declared operational in November 2024, but was shut down again in May 2025. The state and local government in Nigeria reduced their bank debt by 547.52 billion in 1 year, with claims falling from 2.68 trillion in June 2024 to 2.13 trillion in June 2025. The decrease is attributed to the increased Federation Account Allocation Committee (FAC) inflows, the states and the council receiving 12.67 trillion in 2025 up to 8.96 trillion in 2024. The FAC allocations to states rose from 5.19 trillion in 2024 to 7.31 trillion in 2025, while local governments saw an increase from 3.77 trillion to 5.37 trillion. The surge in inflows was enable sub-nationals to reduce borrowing amid high interest rates. The Debt Managing Office urged states to prioritize tax revenue generation and public-private partnership over borrowing. The 90 notes that high debt states face fiscal sustainability concerns despite record FAC disbursements. The Nigeria's Aviation Minister Festus Keyamo has reshuffled senior officials at the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority amidst corruption allegations. Godwin Balang now heads the Directorate of Airworthiness Standards, while Alhaji Ahmad Abba take over Airdromes and Airspace Standards. The move follows recent aircraft incidents and allegations of regulatory laxity. The Directorate of Airworthiness Standards ensures aircraft safety and compliances with international rules. The recent incidents include the Hawker 800 XP crash landing in Kano and a Cessna 172 crash in Owerri, both with no fatalities. Keyamo has vowed to investigate corruption allegations and ensure air safety. The reshuffle aims to tighten control and improve safety standards. An investigation is ongoing with results to be made public. The ministry says the move is for administrative effectiveness amid allegations of compromised oversight. The Nigerian's manufacturing sector is expected to experience sustained growth in 2026, driven by relative macroeconomic stability. According to George Onafuokan, the managing director of Coleman Technical Industries Limited, Onafuokan cited the steadier naira and downward trend in inflation as a key factor contributing to this optimistic outlook. The current economic growth rate of 3.9% is seen as a solid foundation for manufacturers to scale their operations. Onafuokan emphasized that 2025 has been a period of recovery for the industry, with stability in the foreign exchange market and easy inflationary pressures creating a predictable environment for businesses. However, he stressed that the full potentials of 2026 hinge on the federal government's willingness to finalize the key signed fiscal policy measures pending since 2023. The Coleman MD identified the 2026 budget focused on capital expenditure, infrastructure, and security as primary drivers of growth, anticipating increased spending on roads, power, and housing to open new markets and create jobs. He urged the government to clarify misinformation surrounding the new tax laws and provide intensive public education to ensure a smooth transition. The Airpeace CEO, Allen Onyema, wants domestic economic airways that could rise above 1 million in 2026 due to new tax reforms. The laws remove value-added tax exemptions on aircraft, spare parts, and air tickets, increasing operational costs. Onyema cites ICAO's annex stating that value-added tax shouldn't be applied on air transportation services. Nigerian Airways face fuel costs, foreign exchange constraints, and statutory changes. A total of 350,000 domestic tickets yields only 81,000 for airlines, with taxes and levies consuming the rest. Onyema addresses aviation and should be supported for connectivity and economic growth. The ECOWAS plans to abolish air tickets taxes from January 2026, aiming to boost regional connectivity. Nigeria earned $62 from airways tickets taxes in 2024, The aviation sector's sustainability is at risk without supportive policies. Nigeria is poised to shift from macroeconomic stability to growth in 2026. According to the Center for Promotion of Private Enterprise, CPPE, CPPE projects GDP growth at 4.0 to 5.0% in 2026, driven by moderating inflation and stronger non-oil sector performances. The reforms in 2025 laid a solid foundation for stability with exchange rate predictability and improved investors' confidence. The services sector remains Nigeria's growth drivers, accounting for 53% of GDP in third quarter of 2025. The manufacturing grew at 1.25%, constrained by power deficits and logistic costs. Agriculture grew at 3.79%, contributing to 31.21 GDP, but insecurity and low productivity limit export potentials. The capital market may benefit from Dangote refinery potential listing. Despite optimism, CPPE warns of risk, insecurity, oil price volatility, high power and logistic costs, debt service pressures, and pre-election uncertainties. The CPPE CEO, Dr. Muda Yusuf, says 2025 provides stability, while 2026 offers cautious optimism for growth. Silver prices surged 18.1% to 79.32 per ounce, marking it the best Christmas week ever and outperforming gold record runs. The metals has risen over 174% up to date, driven by technical and fundamental factors, including interest rate cuts and tightening supply. Analysts cite robust demands in electricity vehicles, solar energy, and semiconductor data centers. Silver broke the 50 resistance % levels, triggering a technical rally and attracting investors. UBS analyst Giovanni Stonovo notes lower U.S. interest rates and supporting demands for gold and silver. The traders expect U.S. Federal Reserve's rates cuts in 2026, boosting precious metals. Global silver demands outpaced supplies in 2024, creating a crucial market deficit of 148.9 million ounces. Industrial demands reached 680.5 million ounces, driven by green economy growth and AI-related demand. The silver's strong performance is expected to continue, supported by favorable market conditions. Starlink's SpaceX satellite internet service and has crossed to 9 million customers globally, serving 155 countries and territories. The company announces this milestone on X, with founder Elon Musk commending the feat as rebuilding the whole internet in space. Starlink's growth is driven by demand for satellite connectivity, particularly in areas of limited traditional internet access. In Nigeria, Starlink has become the second largest internet service provider, with 66,523 customers as of the second quarter of 2025. The service has bridged broadband gaps, power challenges, and demand from businesses and remote workers. Airtel Africa recently partnered with SpaceX to deploy Starlink's direct-to-cell services across multiple African countries, including Nigeria. Starlink is a key revenue driver for SpaceX, surpassing its rocket launch businesses. The company may prepare for an IPO as early as next year, with the speculative valuations reaching $1.5 trillion. Musk hints that the potential Starlink's IPOs unlocks shareholders' values. Vital Farms Nigeria PLC has announced a 1-for-5 bonus shares issues and a proposed 3.00 dividends per shares distribution ahead of its 64th annual general meeting on March 5, 2026. The bonus issues involves capitalizing the 125.8 naira millions from retained earnings to issues 250.168.812 new ordinance shares of 50 kobos each. The shareholders as of February 6, 2025 will receive 1 new shares for every 5 existing held. The company aims to strengthen its capital structure and reward stakeholders after a robust financial performances. Vitafoam's directors proposes increase in the issued shares capital from 629.42 million to 750.51 million, subject to regulatory approval. The bonus issues and dividend reflect the company's stellar performance in 2025, with a 1.775% surge in profits before tax to 21.48 billion. Vitafoam shares have responded strongly, rising 311% year-to-date to 94.60 as of December 2024 and 2025, ranking it the 10th best performer in the Nigerian exchange market. MEX, a leading digital asset exchange, has partnered with Linkem Available to launch an enhanced MEXX card, offering up to 4% instant cashback on purchases and global payment. The access via Apple Pay or Google Pay. The card allows users to spend crypto seamlessly, maintain on-chain controls, and enjoy flexible top-up options through bank transfers or non-custodial wallets. The MEXX card provides several key benefits, including enhanced cashback rewards, global payment access, and exclusive member rewards such as travel perks, VIP incentives, and conference passes. The card holders can link the cards to Apple Pay or Google Pay to tap to pay purchases anywhere Visa is accepted worldwide. This partnership reinforces MEXX and Linkem Available commitment to advancing spending experiences using crypto and expanding payment solutions that meet the evolving demands of the global crypto community. The MEXX card is now available to qualified users. The Nigeria's new tax laws, Nigeria's Tax Act, and the Nigerian Tax Administration Act are set to take effect in January 1st, 2026. Despite concern raised by the House of Assemblies over the alleged alterations of the gazetted versions, the chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee, Taiwo Oyedele, confirmed the implementation timeline, stating that the reform aims to ease the tax burdens on Nigerians and stimulate economic growth. The reforms are expected to deliver significant tax reliefs, with about 98% of Nigerian workers paying no payee tax or lower taxes, and 97% of the small businesses exempt from the corporate income tax, value-added tax, and withholding tax. Large companies would also benefit from reduced tax liabilities. Oyedele emphasized that the focus is on the growing revenues through economic expansion, widening the tax base, and improving compliances, rather than increasing tax rates. The House of Representatives has inaugurated a committee to investigate the alleged discrepancies between the gazetted tax laws and the version passed by the National Assembly. Oyedele welcomed the committee's engagement and assured that the government is willing to work with the National Assembly to address the concern. That wraps today's edition of the Some TV Business Dailies. But before we go, let's take a look at the recap of the top stories. We're told that the NISAL facilitates over 100 billion in agricultural finances that create over 159,000 jobs in 2025. And again, Alpha Morgan Economic Review examines inflations as GDP and Nigeria economics outlooks. Lastly, the Nigeria's trade surplus drops to 6.69 trillion in the third quarter of 2025, said the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. This brings us to the end of the business news for today. I am Herbert Naftali Bello. Good afternoon.